Yep, I just got live.
Thanks for making it here.
Yeah. I barely got here
We're
in time.
just waiting to start. We're waiting for our co-MC Tommy to arrive. And,
is he running late?
One of the, yeah, and also one of the candidates too. So we're just stalling a little bit right now.
I don't know how much longer he's going to wait. We are, but we have set up, so we have we'll have that guy from Charlie.
The mayor just walked out. We got Jefferson Smith. Charlie Hales is still missing.
Huh?
Okay.
I come out.
Yay! Yes, of course. That was fun.
But I tell you, you can't help but hear you on TV, and you did well in the debate. If I could go to...
Okay, good morning. I guess we can get started.
You're
actually
Play it by ear a little bit here. Excuse me, I'm going to have to talk from my phone. So, good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining us on Bank Transfer Day. My name is Deb, and I'm from Occupy the Bank. Occupy the Bank is a working group that formed out of Occupy Portland that has dedicated time and energy into holding weekly bank actions, talking to people in the community about the importance of moving your money and debt out of big national banks and putting it into local credit unions and community banks. We have teamed up with Oregon Bank Local and Main Street Alliance to assemble community-minded citizens, civil servants, business leaders, community bankers, and political hustlers for one purpose today: to acknowledge that what we, as a society, do with our money matters. Today, we will look through the eyes of the people, the policies, and the small business communities about the necessities and advantages to keeping our money local. In 2010, Multnomah County took the lead when they started to look for ways to move the county's money. And we would like to show our appreciation to Chair Jeff Kogan and the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners for passing the Community Advantage Banking Program. We present to Jeff Kogan. We have our award and anyone from the county.
Here's the award.
Award, our county rep today.
Representing nobody here.
No one is here from the county. Well, we can just show our award and our lovely handcrafted award for the county for keeping the county's money local from the Community Advantage Banking Program. So I'm going to pass this off to Tommy, who is also here from Occupy the Bank, for the next portion.
All right. Thank you, Deb. Good morning. My name's Tommy Murray. I'm also with Occupy the Bank. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Since Multnomah County passed the Community Advantage Banking Program and the start of Occupy Portland, community members and organizations have stepped up the pressure on the mayor and city council to also look into moving the city's money. Today we would like to show our appreciation to Mayor Sam Adams and the Portland City Council for answering the people's calls and passing the Portland Responsible Banking Resolution. We present you with this certificate and the piggy bank.
There he is.
Right there. Thank you very much. And thank you for your work in moving the city's money.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, a lot of cities across the United States have passed resolutions about improving their requests for proposals, their contracts with the banking services provided to municipalities. This city is actually one of the few that has actually changed its RFP, request for proposals for banking services, so that it includes some social justice components, such as rating those that apply to be the city's banker based on their volunteerism of their employees, based on how well they are working to prevent foreclosure. So a lot of cities are talking about it. This city actually has a request for proposals on the street right now. It's due at the end of this month. That will require that if you want to be our bank in terms of city government's bank, you got to bank the right way.
So how we spend our taxpayers' money it's really important. How we save it also and how we invest it is very, very important. And it was an honor to work with the community. It was one of the best hearings we've had since I've been on the council, looking at responsible banking, responsible government is what we're talking about. So I very much appreciate you being here to celebrate with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for the recognition. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Adams and Commissioner Fritz. Since the resolution is new, it has not fully gone into effect yet. So let's hear from the candidates about how they will continue to move the city's money and into local credit unions and community banks. First, we have a candidate running for mayor, Charlie Helps.
I don't think he's here yet.
I haven't seen him.
All right. So let's move on to Jefferson Smith, who is also one of our candidates for mayor. Yes.
So I didn't bring a guy with a sign, but I did bring me. It is really a pleasure to be here, and I want to say thank you to City Council leadership, thank you to the mayor, thank you to the advocates who've been working on this for a long time. Was proud, nearly a year ago, to push for moving our money and responsible banking in our city as part of the early portion of our campaign. And I want to say thanks to our supporters who pushed that. I also want to say thanks to the credit unions who have been pushing similar ideas for a while. Without them, I don't think we'd be here. In the bigger picture, we have the biggest wealth disparities in this country since before World War II. And the tools that we have to have an economy that works a little bit better for way more people are fewer than they ought to be. We can't just tax ourselves all the way. We can't just fix everything with tax breaks. We've got to figure out ways to solve problems in a 21st century way. And one of those ways is to use our resources more smartly. And that includes our banking resources. So I want to say thanks a lot to the people who've led on this effort. There's more that needs to be done. There's more that's going to need to be done by the next mayor, by the next legislature, by the next governor. We're going to need to push to make all of those things happen, and I'll be there to help if I can. Appreciate it.
All right, and another candidate who's running for state treasurer. We have Cameron Whitten here. Let's get a little speech.
I want to thank everybody for coming out here this morning. This is the day before the elections, and I believe that this is an opportune time to continue talking about what's happening in Oregon, what's happening with our economy. And I want to thank Oregon Action, the Working Families Party, the Main Street Alliance, and all the community groups who have stood so strongly for the local bankers and the credit unions that have really helped us see the identity in our community and really build a strong relationship that's going to move our society forward. I'm really happy again to be able to honor the work of Multnomah County and the work of the city and also the work of the Treasury. We have worked on the public fund collateralization program where community credit unions are able to be there or our local institutions to find a more sensible way for us to store our funds. And so I believe that as a community, we are setting the bar high, and we're going to keep that happening for the next 4 years. So thank you.
And thank you, Cameron Witten, running for state treasurer. Also, we have someone who's running for re-election, Commissioner Britt. We'd like to get those 2 more words.
So I particularly want to thank Jefferson Smith for his leadership in the legislature, working with the late great Ben Westland. This was something that the legislature allowed to happen, so I really appreciate that you did that. And thank everybody who's here today. There's a lot more work to be done, and you learn a lot being inside City Hall than you can possibly find out from outside. City government is really different in many ways from the state legislature. So it's been my privilege to work on these issues with Mayor Adams. I'm looking forward to working with whoever's the next mayor. And thank you all for your time and effort on this very, very important subject.
Okay, now that we've heard from the candidates and the politicians, let's hear from some local people. We have small business owner Jim Hauser here, who would like to say a few words about local banking.
Thank you very much. My name is Jim Hauser, and I'm co-owner of Hawthorne Auto Clinic in Southeast Portland, and also co-chair of the Main Street Alliance of Oregon. I want to thank Occupied Portland Bank Action Group and their organizers, the other organizers of this press conference, for reaching out to thank our Portland City officials and Multnomah County officials for taking steps to support local banking, because supporting local banking keeps dollars local and supports small businesses. The Main Street Alliance of Oregon is a statewide network of small independent business owners engaging in policy issues from affordable health care to tax reform. We've advocated on banking issues such as credit card fees, the proposal for an Oregon State Bank, and are currently encouraging the Oregon Growth Board to help community banks and credit unions bolster their lending to small businesses and family farmers. As part of our organizing model, we survey small independent business owners on main streets all over Oregon. In our most recent survey, talking this summer to rural business owners from Hood River to Joseph, from Monmouth to Ashland, from Astoria to Brookings, and into Central Oregon, we have several questions about small business banking preferences. A substantial majority of businesses we surveyed support local banking in a big way. 85% of small business owners surveyed support city, county governments adopting policies like the Portland Responsible Banking Resolution that move public deposits from Wall Street banks and deposit them in local community banks or credit unions. An even bigger majority, 88%, prefer banking with local community banks and credit unions rather than the large national banks. So when we talk about moving your money, you need to know that small business owners are already there. They have moved their money to support their local economies that are supported when community banks and credit unions can make loans to small businesses. Many small businesses are struggling to get credit during the recession, credit to get a business started or a business expansion or improvement that will create more jobs for their community. My colleague, Deborah Field of Paper Jam Press in the Beaumont Village District, wants to share her story about trying to get credit in this economy and what led her to move her money. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here with you. I'm competing with some noise over there. So can you hear me? I'm going to read a lot of mine, too, because I have a lot of details.
Read loud.
Okay. I've been a small business owner for the last 20 years in Portland. I currently own Paper Jam Press, which is a digital print and design shop on Northeast Fremont and 48th. I own it with my husband. I am on the executive team of Main Street Alliance. They asked me to come speak today. Before becoming a small business owner, I was a corporate accountant for 15 years. I am a fifth-generation Oregonian. My ancestors came across on the Oregon Trail. Woo! I am here today to speak to you about a horrible experience I had with a, quote, regional bank Bank of the West. I'm going to say their name. Even though they often made reference to being a small business bank and catering to the local economy, I found out later that they are owned by the French. And I want to share with you also experiences I had with two of our big banks, Bank of America and Citibank. So here's my story. The crash in our economy in 2008, caused by the risky and greedy practices of the big banks in Wall Street, caused our sales to drop by 50%. Yes, true. Even though we had this huge dip in our sales, we continued to make our payments on our business loan and credit line to Bank of the West. When our operating cash would not cover our expenses, we used our own savings to make up the difference. Before the recession, we had a credit score in the upper 700s and received credit card applications on a daily basis. Bank of America had given our business a $45,000 credit line, for which we did not ask. Our company was making money and bringing profit to the bottom line, and the banks were very generous, too generous. So due to the deep recession, our sales continued to be low. We weren't recapturing sales, and our cash was tight. My husband and I decided after 3 years of not recapturing our sales, we had to sell our home. Our son was in college, the house was bigger than we needed, and we really couldn't afford our property taxes. $9,000 a year for property taxes in a 3,000 square foot home. We could not handle in this deep recession. This is where the story turns really bad. In 2005, in order to qualify for our business loan that we took out, we had to put our home up for collateral. Has anybody else experienced this? Pretty common. It was our only option at this time. We didn't like the fact that we had our biggest asset on the line to get a business loan. So when we decided to sell our home, we went to Bank of the West and we asked them to take our home off the collateral and move it to our business property. We had since bought the business property. Makes sense, doesn't it? We didn't want to take the proceeds from our home and give it all to the bank. It would leave us with very little cash to purchase another home. We felt this was a reasonable request. Given our history with the bank, we had paid off 2 other bank loans with them. And we had paid down the current business loan by 25%. Never defaulted. The money was taken automatically out of our bank account. We did nothing wrong. At first, they sounded like they were going to help us. And then the situation worsened. As soon as they found out we were going to sell our home, they came to us and said, okay, we want you to pay off your credit line now and your Bank of the West business loan. We're not going to refinance it. They had us. What could we do? So that's exactly what happened. We had to pay off a $242,000 loan. I was furious, to say the least. Nothing like hitting us when we were down. I canceled my account with this bank as soon as I could, and I am not afraid to tell my story. And the big banks, I think you all kind of know that story. They raised our interest rates for no reason other than they could, even though I had never defaulted. So I quickly closed those accounts and moved my money. They have their hands in our pockets too often for too much. And let's hope, if we all stop giving them our money, they will realize we do not need them. So would this scenario have been different with a local bank or a local credit union? I think so. Local banks are invested in the local community and have policies centered around the needs of the local small business owner and residents. They would have accepted the risk given our history and good credit standing before the deep recession, when they would see the importance of supporting a long-term business relationship and being there for us when times were tough. They would realize that we didn't cause the recession. We were the victims, and that our decrease in sales had nothing to do with our business practices, but with the loss of huge amounts of money and jobs by the people who supported our businesses. So what has this experience taught me? Number 1, check out the bank where you have your money. Where is its corporate headquarters? Who owns the bank? The French don't care about paper jam press in Portland, Oregon. Nor matter? Where are its branches? And what are its lending practices? What percentage of its loans are to small local businesses? The Bank of the West is not even listed on the Oregon Bank's local website. For those of you who don't know that, they rank the banks. That says a lot. I currently bank at Albina Community Bank, which is ranked number 3 in the Portland metro area and has a ranking of 7 out of 8. And I also bank with Advantage Credit Union, which has a ranking of 6. Second, I am learning to use cash and shop local. The importance of supporting our local economy cannot be stressed enough. Not only do we need to bank local and borrow local, we need to shop local. I am happy to report that I am hearing more and more from customers that come into Paper Jam Press that they want to support local businesses. This has just been in the last 2 months, so maybe they're finally getting the message. So I say yes to that. And in closing, I would just like to say that big change can take place when individuals stay committed to ideals with solid principles. History has shown this. There is still power in the people, and that is what this country is all about.
Thank you, Ms. Fields.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One last speaker is from the Working Families Party, and there's Steve Hughes. I'd like to say a few words.
Thanks. I'm Steve Hughes. I'm with the Oregon Working Families Party. We're a grassroots, independent political party focused on bread and butter economic issues that matter to working people. What you're seeing here is year 2 of what has become a movement here in Portland and around the country. The Oregon Bank's local effort that started last year on this day, this is the 1-year anniversary, launched this here in Portland. When people got together, and together 200 people marched from downtown Portland to a local credit union and opened new accounts. On that day, we launched the website that the Working Families Party took the leading role in, called Oregon Banks Local, which ranks banks based on how local they are, based on their business practices, based on where they keep their money, based on a lot of factors that help us find out where the local institutions are. So this is important work. This is year 2. And I think the story here today is that we have elected leaders that are listening to the people of Portland. They are standing up, they are taking action, they are making policy that reflects the concerns of the people on the street. It's 1 year later, and we have real action from our city council and our county commission, and we plan to keep moving with this. All of this started in 2008, when we had a financial crisis, the likes of which none of us had ever seen, and local people started asking themselves, how do we respond as local communities to this problem? And what people started saying is, we got to move our money. We got to get out of the big banks that milked us, that ruined this economy, and we got to go local. But it's only so much for little guys, the individuals, to move their money. We also have to have our institutions reflect our values, which is why the city of Portland and Multnomah County moving their money, taking those first steps, is so important. And I think in the future, where we have to go is we have to look at the entire state of Oregon. Right now, the state of Oregon has literally billions with a B of our tax dollars invested in the very same out-of-state, too-big-to-fail Wall Street banks that crashed our economy. Until we as citizens of this state take control of our money and build a more local and resilient, self-sufficient economy, we will continue to be at the whims of out-of-state interests that don't care about us, don't care about our local economy. So this being year 2, it's a great second step, and we're going to just keep going. So I want to thank everybody for being here and thank the city commissioners and county commissioners for their leadership on this issue.
Our money out of Wall Street and onto Main Street. And if you like what you heard here today, you'd like to get more involved in helping businesses, nonprofits, churches, community groups in your money and moving their money and your debt off of Wall Street and onto Main Street, please join us at our community town hall meeting on local banking at 6 p.m. November 27th at the First Unitarian United Unitarian Church on 12th and Main. For more information on how to move your money, please go to OregonBankLocal.org. We'll now open up for some questions.
We also have press kits here and stuff if anybody wants one. Or if anybody has any questions or anything.
Yep. And we also have Lee from Main Street Alliance. Thanks, everyone.
Kind of unrelated, but still
very good.
Great message today. Obviously.
Michael, what's on the other side of your sign?
I was there.
Oh, nothing respected.
Okay, next question.
I wasn't there, so I can't speak to that, but I can speak about moving your money and moving your debt, starting with Wall Street Beat, and moving your
I think the pepper spray was a little bit more perspective. I was right there. I got a little bit on me.
There he is.
Medicare, closing schools, things like that. Are all
It should be on their website. I think there's contact information on there. There's also the City Hall stuff going on Thursday.
Thanks for coming today.
Did you tell her about the thing on Thursday? Did you tell her about the City Council thing on Thursday? Yeah, I'm sure it's being talked about in several places. All right, so do you want the stream on for a while? Or?
We say, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Remember, move your money, move your debt. So did you find anything more about the foreclosure thing?
I put a post on Facebook, and I did never see any information.
Yeah.
I don't know where the media got that information from. Somebody looked
Maybe
on
we
We
could
Are.
ask them, actually.
Yeah. Channel 12 was one that was reporting it. Yeah, there was supposed to be a press release at that house today, is what Channel 12 was saying.
I was sitting there holding the sign. I see Carmen walk over to whatever, not the chief, but the police are there.
I thought there was 2 cops.
Huh?
There was 2 cops. Oh, yeah, he was the one sergeant. He was there Saturday. He was the one. They're waiting down. We have plans.
Unless they come up with a way to have
I wanted to ask him why there was 60 riot police for protest. Peaceful protest, and there were 4 police officers for a Holocaust and racist in the street. I got up to the Neon, because I had to leave early from the M3, because I got a text saying, hey, there's some people meeting up at Neon because David Irving's supposed to be up there. So I ran up there, and there was probably 15 of us. I went into the lobby.
Hi.
I got one.
Oh, you got one.
I'm going.
This is about the Trans-Pacific Partnership rally between Canada and
Okay.
our border.
Okay.
So it's going to start in Bellingham, and it's December 1st. There's going to be a bus caravan up there, and so I talked to them this morning. They said they have 56-seat bus,
Okay.
and so they still have room.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Away, and one of the stormtroopers went up and pushed him in the back, and he was a good 10 feet from the confrontation line. So it's not just a one-way kind of thing. I think that more cooperation and less of those kind of behaviors are going to result in a more peaceful demonstration. And that's what I think 90 to 95% of the people, including the officers that are there, they want a peaceful demonstration. And it's the officer's job to control the troublemakers because it's beyond our power.
the so-called shields or the battering ram. Probably not a good idea.
It's not a battering ram. It's a sign, and it is a tactic for claiming the street. which that I believe the people that are doing that believe they have a right to that public property, and they're expressing that right. So I think that's where the misunderstanding is, or that, you know, it's ultimately the police make the rules, but I think it behooves them to do a little more Tai Chi in their enforcement.
And I think we're all in favor of that.
Oh, Colonel Moses.
Robert,
yes.
Can you break down what exactly happened from your perspective?
There were 400 or 500 people that were walking along on Halsey. They were traveling eastbound, and the group wanted to go northbound 14th Avenue. And there was a line of bike officers that was there along 14th Avenue, and whatever the devices were, it was basically 8 by 4 foot sheets of plywood, and they had a banner on the front with a message, but it was also, some of them, they were differently constructed, but some of them were pretty substantial, so they were pushed into the officers, and so you had not only a device, whatever you want to call it, pushing on officers, but then you had all the people from behind. So at that point, that's when the confrontation occurs. I mean, if somebody pushes in that setting on a large group of officers, they're going to make arrests, they're going to take people in custody. But I was telling Moses, you know, we're going to have to take an action to regain control of the situation, because there for a little while it was pretty out of control. And, you know, again, we look at every use of force that happened out there. We have video, Occupy has video. We're going to review and evaluate all of that to determine the appropriateness of every officer's action. But basically, that's what happened. And so what our discussion's been today is figuring out how we can have a more peaceful, safer, more cooperative event. And when Occupy was happening here, I remember one of the people in the group saying, there's clearly the police in this group, there's clearly the Occupy, and then there's the unaffiliated. And the unaffiliated at times can be the antagonist, they can be the aggressor, and so, you know, we want, as Moses said, we want to cut the folks out of the group that are really the problem. That can be difficult for us to do when it escalates and when it becomes volatile, and when people, I think everybody at this situation feels like their safety is at risk. So
this was with the pepper spray incident, so it wasn't this anarchist group that was a portion of that. Understanding that some elderly people, younger people may have gotten pepper sprayed in all of this.
Yeah, it's a hard thing if you take a huge piece of plywood and you put 4 or 5 people behind it, and you ram a group of police officers. We're going to have to try to find a way to regain control of that situation. So in this case, they deployed pepper spray over the top of the barricade at people who were pushing on them. Now, with the way pepper spray is it possible that other people were sprayed inadvertently? I think that's absolutely possible. And I think that gets us back to the point. We have to find a way to work with these groups so that we can be sure that there's cooperation and safety. Otherwise, this will happen again.
I would just say that that Eastern philosophy in battle sometimes is to give and to just let flow the aggression and to de-escalate. And sometimes the least effective thing is to escalate a confrontation.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank
so
you.
Much pleasure. Thank you.
I want to show you this picture. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Officer King, I really appreciate it. That's an old lady.
All right, so we just got a little press conference on the pepper spray. The media was looking, thought there was going to be something, and so they just kind of started asking some questions. Lieutenant King was here to answer some of that. So they're also staged up down at the courthouse. I guess they were looking for some kind of statement down there as well. So anyway. Yeah, that's right. I don't know how they plan to remove the unaffiliated. That's kind of crazy. So anyway, I guess things are pretty well wrapped up here. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for watching. See y'all later.